this financial vehicle we call Nu Skin. And I'm going to contrast it as sharply as I can against whatever you're doing right now to make your money. Okay, whatever you did today to make your money. So my job tonight is not to make you feel really good. Okay, my job is to irritate you tonight. That's my job. And I'm going to try my very best to irritate you the best I can and point out these differences so you can get it. Because here's my main statement for you tonight. I will show you tonight the best business that you will ever see in your life. That's a really big statement to make, all right? I'm going to build a foundation underneath that statement so you can see what I'm talking about. But there's no one here that can show me a business that has this kind of upside potential with literally no risk. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the property market. It doesn't exist in the stock market. I don't know any place that exists like it exists right here. So I'm going to show you that tonight. And I'm going to tell you right at the outset, it's not easy to do. This will take a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of energy. But at least it's possible here to create something that's really unique. And so that's where I started. And I remember that I spent about 2 weeks just kind of digging in. I went down to the company, to Nu Skin, and I met with the management team. And I said, who's your banker? And I called him. And I said, who's the manufacturers? And I called them. And I checked every place I could check. And at the end of 2 weeks, I was convinced. I said to myself, I really do need to do this. And I went home and I said to my wife, we need to talk. And we sat down and had this little conversation at the kitchen table. And I said, honey, I feel like we really need to do it. And I need to really do it. I think now's the time. I think your brother-in-law is right, and we can't wait. You need to understand we had 3 little girls under the age of 5 at the time at our house. We just bought a new home. We had a new house payment on that property. And so it was a little stressful for me in terms of the payments. I had to make $5,000 a month to make all the bills paid at my house every month. And so we had $30,000 in the bank. We had 6 months of money. And I had to make Nu Skin make more than $5,000 within 6 months, or I was going to be in trouble because I'm not a person that can do 2 things. I have to do one thing. And I decided I was going to do this aggressively. So I went into take no prisoner mode because this is how I was going to feed my family. This wasn't a hobby for me. So I was dead serious about it. We had an office on the end of our home that we had just purchased there, had its own toilet in there and so forth. And I said to my wife, I said, honey, I'm going to go in there and close that door, and I'm going to be either on the phone speaking with people or I will be out meeting with people, one of those 2 things. And I said, I need you to keep the girls off the door. I can't have the crying and screaming and stuff. I've got to sound professional in here on the telephone. So can you control the children, please? And if you'd be kind enough to push food under the door 3 times a day, then I'll be great. It'll just be perfect in here, and I'll go get this job done, right? I said, if you'll do that, that'll be great. I'll see you in 2 years. I was kidding. Kind of. Not really. I said, you can have me on Sunday, but other than that, I'm working. I'm going to get this thing done so I can feed the family. And so she's incredible, right? Supportive, helpful, helped me do the business in the beginning and the evenings sometimes and so forth. And so we started doing this. And I remember it was just nonstop. It was 16 to 18 hours a day. It was as fast as I could call people and meet with people. And some days it would be 4 and 5 meetings a day. Not 1 a week, 4 or 5 a day. Sometimes 5 people, sometimes 10 people, sometimes 2 people. Sometimes no people would show up. That's just part of the territory. So we'd practice on each other. Just try to get better at talking about Nu Skin. That's how we started doing it. And I remember the first month the check came from Nu Skin. I could see their name printed on the corner of the envelope. My name's in the window. I'm so excited. It's my first check from the company. And I tear it open, and I'm really depressed because it was $547. And I looked at it, I thought they made a mistake. I thought, are you kidding? Do you know how hard I just worked for this? It wasn't a mistake. So I'm already into the next month anyway. So I finish the next month, work as hard as I can again, and the check comes from Nu Skin for the second month, and it's $1,100. That month I said, I'm definitely going bankrupt. You know, there's no way this is climbing fast enough to hit the $5,000. So this is going to be a problem. I got to figure this out. But something important happened at the end of the second month, and I didn't understand it at the time because I was so new in Nu Skin, but I became an executive in Nu Skin's compensation plan. And I found out what that meant the third month when the check came from Nu Skin, and it went up 5 times in 1 month. It was $5,500. And that was the first month I had hope. I thought, okay, I might not go bankrupt. This might actually all work. And then the next month it went to $8,300. And the next month it went to $13,000. And the next month went to $17,000. And by Christmas, it was $21,000. Now, it was a good Christmas. Okay, that was twice as much as I used to make monthly on average in my real estate business. And I started to experience the benefits of this vehicle called Nu Skin. It took me a while to figure it out. But once that happened, it was like, okay, pedal to the metal. Let's go. I'm not going to slow down. I'm going to accelerate this thing now, right? And the check has continued to go. Now that's, you know, this has been 22 years almost. Now, it's been an incredible ride. It's been an amazing opportunity. I've been able to take my children all over the world. Tomorrow I fly out for Africa for safari with the rest of my family, my wife and my children who are leaving America right now to meet me there. So my kids have been able to be on every continent except Antarctica before they're out of high school, right? It's just an amazing thing when you can give those kinds of things to your children and provide opportunities that I know I never had when I was growing up as the son of a government worker and a school teacher. That was my life, right? I remember my father saying, we can't go there, we don't have any money. We can't go out to dinner, we don't have any money. We're not going to Disneyland because we have no money. Well, then the other neighbors are going. Well, we don't have any money. Pretty soon I figured out we didn't have any money at our house. And I don't know what happened to me, but something happened deep inside of me when I was little. And I just had this time where I said, I'm never going to have to tell my kids we don't have any money. You know, I just want to be able to do the things for my kids that I wanted to do when I was a kid and be able to give them experiences. So that's really kind of been what Nu Skin's been about. Tonight, all I'm going to do is just tell you the truth. We're going to speak about the truth, okay? And I'm going to be a little bit brutal at certain times during this meeting with the facts. And one of those is going to start right now. I'm going to show you 2 pie charts. And I don't want you to go, well, you know, we're Brits and he's talking about America. Okay, because I need to talk about America for just a minute because it's not a lot different for you guys either, right here. And you just have to get these numbers first in your head, okay? And then we'll go into these 5 points that I was speaking about a second ago. Okay. These numbers are published by the United States Social Security Administration. They're the ones that are in charge of all the pensions, right? And so they know what happens to people at age 65. So just look at this pie chart right here first. This is 100 people, random sample of 100 at age 65. Now today we've got about 140 or 50 in this room, crammed in like sardines, thank you. And so we've got 150, okay? I'm going to relate it to the numbers in the room. I know you won't read these down here as well if you're in the back. I'll speak them for you. The yellow area says 16 people are dead. So 16 people out of 100 did not even make it to age 65. They died before then, for whatever reason. The big red area right here is 2/3 of all the people. 66 people are living on incomes of less than $30,000 a year in America. They're dead broke. So 16 are dead and 66 are dead broke out of 100 people. The blue area right here is 13 people live on incomes of $30,000 to $60,000 a year. They're okay. They can feed themselves. You know, they're not struggling really. They can survive. They can take one vacation so long as they drive. They can't afford to fly. Maybe over here. You guys got really cheap airfare. Maybe they can fly over here. In the green area here, 5 people have made it financially. 60,000 all the way on up, and 1% is considered wealthy. And the definition of wealth in the U.S. today is $10 million of net worth excluding all debt. So if you don't have that, you're not really wealthy. All right. Why do I point these numbers out? Because they're not too dissimilar from the UK. All right, if we were to go do the homework and do the research, you would find it's pretty close to that. So 5 people out of 100 make it. 150 people in this room, 7.5 of you will be okay, the rest of you are history. Think about that. That's a frightening thought when you think about it. And you go ahead and you live on ever-diminishing pension plans that are constantly eroded by inflation. You know, your purchasing power keeps decreasing, and it gets tougher and tougher the older you get. So that's an issue. And that's what happens literally all over the world. I saw, an article on Yahoo News about 2 months ago. It said that in the U.S., the top 5% of Americans control 60% of the wealth in the country. And the other 95% split up the other 40% of the money. Same kind of thing here. You guys have probably heard before that it's the 80-20 rule of life. 20% of the people do 80% of the production, right? And 80% don't do that much. You ever heard that before? It's not really that good. They told you that to make you feel good about humanity. It's the 95-5 rule, folks. You're going to have to be in the top 5% of anything if you really want to make it. It's just the way it is. You just can't be mediocre, no matter what, okay? Now, in saying that, I realize that that's going to shrink the numbers, but I told you I'm here to tell you the truth tonight. So let's talk about the 1%. When I saw this 21 years ago for the first time, I said to myself, I don't need to learn how to fail. Nobody needs to teach me how to do that. I want to know how that 1% that actually did it. And here's the 1% right here. The blue area, 10% CEOs of public companies got stock options and bonuses, made them worth more than $10 million. This green area here, top professionals, top lawyers and doctors and CPAs and consultants and people like that. They made more than $10 million, okay? The yellow area, 5% were super salespeople, top bond traders, top stockbrokers, very top real estate agents, the very top of the top, right? And they made more than $10 million of net worth, made them wealthy. And 1% are the athletes, okay? The LeBron Jameses of the world, the Kobe Bryants, or, your soccer players, whoever you guys have here that make money, okay? The big contracts, right? When I saw those first 4 pieces, I said to myself, I'm not a CEO. I'm not a professional. I'm not a super salesperson. I'm certainly not an athlete. What am I going to do? And the good news for me and the good news for every one of you in this room is the vast majority of people that achieve wealth in this world do it by owning their own business. 74% of the people that achieve wealth do it by owning their own business. So let's pause and just discuss what we've already said so far. What we've discovered so far is that very few people make it financially in this world. Very few people. And that you've got to be in the top 5% if you want to make it. That you cannot just continue to persist along in a job or something. Does anybody in this room see another sliver of this pie chart here anywhere that's labeled employee? I work for someone else my whole life. Is that up there anywhere? Nope, it's not up there. And I think that at this point, as we pause for just a moment, I want you to follow the logic here. I mean, I think you have to admit that you'll never make it financially if you spend your life working for somebody else. Is that true? Yeah. That is absolutely true. I mean, a few very rare exceptions. If you're the first, 50 employees at Google, okay, maybe you made it be an employee. Okay, but outside of that, there's literally no chance. Let's say that I do a good job tonight and I irritate you so much that you go to your work in the morning and you walk into your boss's office and say, I'm sick of working here, okay? You know what? You give me 10 times more money or I'm out of here. What do you think they're going to say? Leave. There's the door. Don't let it hit you in the behind on the way out, right? That's what they're going to say. Why? Because you have no leverage on your boss. If you don't want to do your job anymore, there's probably a number of people that would be happy to take your job for about what they pay you now. So you can't demand, enough to make you up. They're going to pay you enough to keep you coming back, but never enough to make you free. It's by design. That's all they have to do, right? So the only way you can really do this is one of these areas. And for most of us, the best shot we're going to have is have our own business. You following that logic? Okay. So the question then is, what kind of business? There's only three. Yeah, there's thousands of companies, but really you can put them in three categories. One, you can buy or start your own business. That takes a large investment of time and money. It's a really high failure rate. About 70% of new businesses fail in the first 5 years. Okay, so it's tough. That means there's significant risk. Did you know that at certain stages of your life, there's certain risks that you can't afford to take anymore? Because if you take the risk and you blow it, you're toast forever. You'll work until you're dead because you're out of runway to recover before retirement, right? Not enough time left. And so you got to be really careful about some of the risks you're going to be willing to take. Because if you blow what's left of your pension, right, it's going to be ugly. Number two, you buy a franchise. They have a higher success rate. How come? Why higher than a normal business? Because somebody else already figured out all the potholes. They already made the manual. That's what you pay all the money for. And the first page says, no creativity needed. Do it just like this. That's what it says in the manual. That's what you paid all the money for. So the upside is you get world-class branding, proven systems, comprehensive training. They got it all figured out. What's the downside of a franchise? Limited expansion. You can't make it on one location. You figure out you need 5 of these things pretty fast to make a decent living. That's more money and more risk every time you reinvest to expand, right? And you depend on a whole bunch of people. What kind of people in these businesses? Teenagers many times, right? Depend on the teenagers. How many here are willing to bet your financial future on your teenager? No takers? How about 100 of them? You want to bet on 100? It's a scary thought when you start to think about that. And so those are the challenges. And the worst part of a franchise is what? The royalties. You never own it. You got to pay off the top, your best percentage every month, because you're renting the business idea from those people. That's what you're doing, right? So that's the downside of it. Yet, it still works for a lot of people, okay? Number 3, you can build a network. Why do you want to build a network anyway? Why would you want to do that? Well, no less than the whole world's become a network in the last 10 years. True, isn't it? How would you call somebody in China 20 years ago? Well, you wouldn't. They didn't have phones in China 20 years ago. How would you contact somebody there today? Easy. Internet. Lots of different networks, right? Lots of ways to search. Lots of ways to connect with people. Today, time and space are dead. They don't mean anything anymore. How many remember when you got billed by how far away you called somebody from your house? Remember those days? My children go, are you kidding? You actually had to pay if you called New York? Wow. Well, you can talk to anybody, any place, anywhere in the world for free now. As long as you got an internet connection, you can do that, right? You can share videos, pictures, and you can do whatever. The world's a whole different place right now. In fact, businesses that are built around networks are the ones that are really growing, right? What are the hot companies right now? LinkedIn, Groupon, Google, I mean, just go through all the names, right? That's what's hot. Traditional corporations have been struggling the last 4 or 5 years. They'll continue to struggle because they're not as efficient as a network. It's a more efficient model, and unless they embrace it, it's going to be the demise of those kinds of companies. And they'll continue to shed jobs. There's no promise in a job anymore. There's no lifetime employment. There's no real pension. Why are you going to go trade your mind and body to somebody for a job? Well, yeah, you need to pay bills, so you do that for a while. But if there was a better way, you might want to do that. Now, some people, when we do the presentation, they go, this all sounds great, but in the back of your mind, you're harboring some objections. And one of those is people say, yeah, but I think these things are pyramid schemes. Aren't they pyramid schemes? What's a pyramid scheme? I'll call people on the phone and I'll tell them what I'm doing. They'll go, wasn't that a pyramid scheme? They go, well, that's a pyramid scheme, like they know what they're talking about. And I go, well, what is a pyramid scheme? And they go, well, I don't know. It's kind of shaped like this, I think. They're not quite sure what they're saying. can I just disabuse you of that misperception for a minute? Pyramid schemes are illegal in every country and every state I know of. Okay, why are they illegal? Because typically they don't have any product of real value and they pay a bounty to recruit by the head. That's what they do. So mathematically, eventually, you could run out of heads to recruit, and so the whole thing would then implode like a big house of cards, right? And the last people would have no way to get their money back. That's a pyramid scheme. Why is Nu Skin not a pyramid scheme? Because we have never paid, nor will we ever pay, a bounty to recruit by the head. We only pay money when product is sold, like any other legitimate business. Do you guys have Costco warehouses around here?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just compare this to Costco for a second. You pay $35 a year in the U.S., and I don't know what it is over here in pounds, to be a member of Costco. So you have the right to walk in their wholesale warehouse and supposedly buy stuff at wholesale, right? Same thing at Nu Skin. You pay $25 a year to be a member of Nu Skin, so you have the right to walk in Nu Skin's warehouse and buy products at wholesale. No difference so far. If you buy a lot at Costco in a year, they'll give you a rebate on your credit card. If you buy a lot at Nu Skin, they'll pay you a referral commission, and they'll pay a commission on other people you tell to go there and buy things also. Okay? But only when they buy product. Right? Okay? So that's the only difference between the two. You know, now some people, they get a little confused. They say, well, who actually buys all this stuff? You know, somebody's going to buy all this stuff, and this whole thing's going to blow up. Really? Well, let's go back to the Costco example. How many of you have neighbors that drive down to Costco, they load up, you know, their car with a bunch of stuff at Costco, they come home and get their cardboard table out and put it out by the street, put all the stuff they bought at Costco on the cardboard table, and start to retail that to the neighbors and cars that are driving by? Any of you have people that go to Costco and do that? What do they do with all that stuff they buy at Costco? They eat it. They use it themselves. They consume it in their own house, right? Now listen close. I'm not going to tell you that people at Nu Skin don't actually have retail customers, that they actually retail the products they buy in the Nu Skin warehouse and make more money. They do. But even if they didn't, even if no one sold anything that they bought at the Nu Skin warehouse at retail to somebody who's buying it, the whole thing still works. Because all they have to do is consume it in their own house, just like they do from Costco. Does that help you understand a little bit? It's just network distribution. What's regular distribution? Manufacturer spins a product out of their factory to a jobber. He marks it up and sells it to wholesalers. They put it in retail stores, and you as the consumer walk in and buy it off the shelf, and everybody makes their markup, their profit along the way. Right? Mm-hmm. That's regular distribution. What's network distribution? A manufacturer called Nu Skin makes a product. They go direct to a distributor who may or may not retail the product and make more money. Maybe just consume it. They cut out all those middle people in the middle. And because we have computers that can track all these direct purchases now, we can pay that difference. All those middle people, we can pay that for people doing the referral. That's how we pay it. Pretty simple, isn't it? So what's the objective? All your objective is in a business like this is build a large network of people that use and consume and sell a little bit of product. That's it. The objective is not to go get 100 customers. The objective is to build a network of distributors who use and consume product and sell a little bit. That's it. That's all I've been doing for 22 years, and it works really, really well. All right, so hopefully that helps you understand maybe why you want to do a network. Here's the 5 points. Please write these down, okay? Let's just kind of look at these, and we'll go through one by one. Number 1, most important thing for any entrepreneur who's starting a business, which is what you have to do if you're going to make it, okay, is market trends. Number 2 point, exclusive products and technologies. Number 3, world-class partnerships. No one can do it on their own. You got to have really good partnerships when you start a business. 4, proven compensation. You have to know that if you do the extra work here, you do the work, you're going to get the money. I think you have to know that. And number 5 is timing. Okay? And timing has been said that it's everything. Okay, we'll talk about each one of these. I'm going to go back now and go through those in detail. Let's go to market trends. I want to show you 4 slides. And all I want you to focus on is this bar right here. Watch this bar and watch where it moves. Let me describe what it means. We're looking at the decade of 1980 to 1990 in the U.S. market right here. All this is saying is the age bracket of 35 to 44 years of age was the fastest growing age bracket of population during that decade. That's what that chart says, okay? Watch the chart. Here's the next decade. Here's 90 to 2000. Did you see where the bar moved? During that decade, 45 to 54 was the fastest growing age bracket. Here's the decade we just finished. And here's the decade we're now in. Did everybody see where that's going? I'm going to rewind that so you can see. Okay, here we go. Decade, decade, decade. What does that show you as that bar marches to your right? What it's saying is that we're stacking human beings up in older age brackets at unprecedented rates. Are you aware that 2/3 of the people that have ever lived past age 65 on planet Earth are alive right now? In all eons of time. In 1900, life expectancy in the U.S. was 46 years of age. Guess what it was in 2010? 80 years of age. Wow, that's quite an extension of human lifespan, isn't it? How many in this room believe that medical science will yet in the future come up with breakthroughs that will further extend human life? You think that will happen?
Yes.
You better believe it. It's going to happen. They're going to keep extending life. In 20 years, it will not be uncommon to see people in their 90s all over the place. And by 2050, it will not be uncommon to see 100-year-old people all over the place, okay? Because that's what these charts show is happening. If there's that many people, they're going to live that much longer. What do you think they want? What kind of trend do you think they are creating by the stretching of their longevity? They're creating a trend that we call anti-aging. It's the anti-aging movement. You see, if people are going to live that much longer, it's obvious that what they're going to want to do is live better longer. And if they're going to live better longer and not ride out the last 30 years in a wheelchair or a rest home or something, who wants to do that? Why be alive, right? If they're going to want to live better longer, then they also want to look better longer, right? In our research on anti-aging, what we've discovered at Nu Skin, people don't necessarily mind getting older. In fact, they expect to keep having birthdays. They hope to keep having birthdays, right? What they mind is getting ugly. That's what they don't like about getting old. And so if we could help them to look better longer, there's a big demand for products that do that same kind of thing. Here's kind of the key, ladies and gentlemen. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're going to start a business, the first point that you have to have are big market trends that you can latch onto. Because I'm sorry to announce that no one here in this room is so cool you can form your own trend. Sorry. You're not that neat, okay? What you have to have is enough vision to spot these big trends that are working their way through the economies of the world and identify them and get out in front of them before they're obvious to everybody else. That's what you want to do. When did Nu Skin start? 27 years ago. When did the anti-aging trend start? About 30 years ago. A little company named Nike came up with some shoes you could start to run and work out in, you know. Health food stores popped up, right? All of a sudden people wanted to eat better. Clubs popped up. Exercise facilities and gyms and so forth started proliferating around the world. And they continue to grow. There's $150 billion this year that will be spent on anti-aging products and services. From cosmetic surgery to Botox to workout clothes to, you know, cosmetics and anti-aging products. I mean, that's it. It's going to be $500 billion in the next 19 years. $500 billion market. That is a brand new, massively growing market that is being driven by this trend right here. Remember one statement, folks. The trend is your friend. This is like a huge wave, you know? Like you're out in the ocean. You can see this wave coming. This one's huge. How do you surf that wave? You grab a surfboard called Nu Skin, and you jump on it, and you paddle like a lunatic so it doesn't come over the top of you, right? And if you can get yourself in motion, that wave will pick you up and throw you. It'll sweep you along, way beyond your own power, way faster than you could ever paddle on your own. That's the power of a trend. If you can get on a trend and you can identify it and you can get position and catch that wave, it'll sweep you along. You'll go further and faster than you ever thought was possible in your life. That's what happened to me. I just caught this Nu Skin wave, 22 years ago. I'm just a normal guy like anybody in this room. There's nothing special about me or extraordinary about me. I'm just like anybody else. I just was lucky enough to get introduced to a trend and get on it, and it continues to grow, continues to get bigger. All right, that's number one. Number two, unique products and exclusive technologies. This is a little bit of a kind of an unfinished slide, I have to admit, okay? These are the areas where Nu Skin's going to continue to come up with new product lines. We're going to talk about oxidative stress in just a second. We've already got that one covered. This one right here, environment and lifestyle, we're working on as well. Cellular function, you're going to hear about that tonight with a product called ageLOC. Body weight and metabolism and hormonal issues right here. These are future product lines that are coming from Nu Skin over the next 4 and 5 years, okay? And I think we just had a few of those there. I'm going to go back one. Sorry about that. Okay, let's talk about this. I think that's the right one. Yep. All right. How many people know what free radicals and antioxidants are? You ever heard that before? Okay, let's talk about those for the ones who may not be really familiar. Let's talk about what they are. Is it getting warm in here? We got a lot of bodies in here. I'm getting cooked by this projector. For these guys right up here. Okay. How many people have cut an apple in half before? Come on, every hand should go up, okay? Seeing if you're awake. What happens as soon as you cut the apple open? It goes brown. Why does it go brown? Because the oxygen in the air, which is toxic, by the way, did you know that? Oxygen keeps you alive, but every breath kills you a little bit, every day. It starts to react with the now exposed surface of the apple. It starts to oxidize. That's what oxygen does. It oxidizes or rusts the apple. That's what the brown is. It's rusting. And if you leave it there long enough, it'll rot it completely and shrivel it up, won't it? A couple weeks, right? It's nature's way, okay? So that's what happens. Women, we'll ask the women this. If you have friends coming over for dinner or a barbecue or something and you're doing a fruit tray and you don't want your peaches and apples and pears to look brown and yucky, what do? The lemon juice on them, right? What's in the lemon juice that protects the fruit? Vitamin C. And everybody knows vitamin C is a potent antioxidant. So it stops the oxidation or the rusting or the rotting. Right? That's what happens. Okay. How long does it protect that fruit? 2-3 hours. And then it starts to rust again. How come? Because the vitamin C that you applied to the surface of the fruit gets consumed by the oxygen particles. They come down and the vitamin C neutralizes that one. Here comes another one, neutralize, another one, neutralize, 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 until the vitamin C is exhausted. It's all consumed, it's gone. And now the rotting process resumes, right? Unless you do what? Put on some more lemon juice. Protect it another 2-3 hours, right? Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, what you want to do with your body, because you're rusting and rotting a little bit every day, is you want to squeeze on some human lemon juice. Here it is, right here. This is human lemon juice. You take one of these packs and you squeeze it in the morning, and you take one of these and you squeeze it in at night, so you can coat the tissues of your body and protect them from free radical damage. Oxidation. Okay? It's an interesting concept when you think about it. So how many free radical hits will everybody in this room suffer before midnight tonight? How many? Take a guess. Anybody want to guess millions? Anybody want to guess billions? Anybody want to guess trillions? About 60 trillion reactions in the cells of your body today. That's a war going on in there. You don't need to foment the war, do you? No, you don't. And so what you want to do is you want to, take care of your body. So we have this machine called a biophotonic scanner. And this little device, which I think we have one here somewhere. Yes, no?
No.
Oh, that's not good. We need a scanner here tonight.
We do, we just haven't got it on back. We just haven't got it on back.
It'll be set up in the back. Okay, good. You'll be able to get scanned tonight. If you have a high score on the scanner, which is something more than 40,000 units, okay? You've got a high score on the scanner. What that means is you have low free radical damage coming out of your body. How do we know that? Because you can measure free radical damage in urine. We've already done all the tests. So we know that if your score is high, the damage coming out is low. If your score is low, what's a low score on the scanner? Let's say it's 19,000. That's about the average score for the average person. 19,000. You know what that means? That means you're a disaster. That's not good. That means you've got really high damage coming out in your urine. Okay? So what you want to do is get your score as high as you can get it, and then keep it there for the rest of your life. That's what you want to do. Why? Because what's the aging process anyway? Nothing more than the cumulative free radical damage that you allow yourself to suffer through the course of your life. And I say allow yourself to suffer because now you're aware that you're doing it to yourself. 5 minutes ago you didn't know, but now you know. So now you can't go through life blissfully trashing yourself anymore, okay? You need to start taking care of yourself, folks. It's all about free radical management. How are you going to manage your free radical damage in your body every day? That's what it's really all about. Okay? If you're a smoker, then you're going to score like 13 or 14,000. Because what you're doing is trashing yourself with the smoke, the cigarettes. Every cigarette is 10 times more free radicals than you normally suffer in a day. Every cigarette. You can see it around their mouth. You can see it around their eyes. Their hair goes gray faster than the normal person. They're just aging faster because they're inflicting huge amounts of additional free radical activity into their body. So these are things to think about. It's really serious stuff. You know, we've tested mothers who breastfeed versus mothers who bottle feed. We scan the baby who's bottle fed, and they're way down there. We scan a baby who's breastfed with a healthy mother within 2,000 points of the mother. Not 20,000 points away from the mother. Okay? This is really important stuff to think about. No one's ever been able to know that until the biophotonic scanner. We have 5 patents on this technology globally. No one else in the world can scan you right here in the palm of your hand and in 90 seconds tell you your antioxidant saturation in the tissue of your body. Not your hair, blood, urine, saliva, all these funky places people have tried to measure nutrition over the years. They're all faulty. But right in the cell, right where the fight has to happen every day, do you have enough protection built in to knock down that free radical damage or not? That's what we, and we alone, can tell people. Okay? It might be the most important technology we have in this company. No one else can do it. Let me tell you a quick story. You want to hear a quick story?
Yep.
Yes.
People love stories, don't they? Quick story. Here's a story. I was living in Salt Lake City, Utah in April of the year 2000. I went down to my office in the basement of that house, and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. Telephone rings, and on the end of the line is a guy who says his name is Robert McLean. He said, I'm a scientist at the Center for Biomedical Optics at the University of Utah. He said, we've invented a new technology that we know is going to change the world of nutrition forever. He said, we want you to come look at it. Do you guys get phone calls like this? I never do. This was really strange. I said, excuse me, what was your name and where are you calling from? What did you say? He said, no more questions, just come get scanned. Sometimes that's what we need to say to people. No more questions, just come get scanned, right? Okay, and so he invited me to go to the Huntsman Cancer Center. You might have heard that John Huntsman Jr. is going to run for the President of the United States. He's just throwing his hat in the ring right now. That's the son of the billionaire who donated his entire fortune to beat cancer and built this facility. Awesome, awesome facility. Number 3 in the U.S. for cancer treatment. Really up there. I'm impressed they've even got the machine in this place. I go to the 7th floor of the Huntsman Cancer Center the next Thursday for my appointment. I walk down this long hallway to a teeny room on the side, and the first thing I notice is the heat is just pumping out of this room. Why? There's a 4-foot-long blue argon gas laser that's just cranking out the heat. There's a fiber optic wire coming out of the end of the laser, and it's hooked up to a computer. The scientist grabs this fiber, and he puts it up to my hand right here. And he scanned me for the first time. And my score was 48,000. And the two scientists looked at each other like, something's wrong, reboot the computer. They reboot the computer, they scan me the second time, I'm 48,000. The scientist says, let's do that one more time. They scan me the third time, I'm 48,000 again. The other scientist finally says, well, I guess you're really 48,000. I'm thinking 48,000 of what? I don't even know what they're talking about, right? They said, that's the highest score we've ever seen so far on this technology. I was the first civilian in the world to get scanned outside the University of Utah. Pretty interesting, okay? Immediately, they say, what do you eat? Tell us your diet. You know, how many fruits and vegetables and whatnot? I said, I don't know. I eat really well. I really do, but I don't track how many servings. I said, I never go to McDonald's, but I'm not perfect. They said, that's not good enough. You got to tell us exactly. And that's when I reached in my pocket and I pulled out one of these. And I said, all I can tell you guys, I've been swallowing 2 of these packets a day, every day, for the last 8 years in a row. They were really impressed with my compliance. Immediately, they turned their attention to the packet. How many milligrams of this? How many milligrams of that? I said, I don't know how many milligrams of anything are in here, I'm sorry. All I know is I swallow 2 of these every day, and it seems to be doing something. And that's where the whole conversation started, ladies and gentlemen. I stayed for 2 hours because I was really intrigued. I started asking these questions, and I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, but I am enough, into it enough, and I've been into nutrition for 20 years, so I know enough to be dangerous. And I'm asking these questions that I'm getting what I think are really good answers to. Such good answers that I'm getting really excited. So excited, I don't want the scientist to see how excited I'm getting. Why was I getting so excited? What was the one thing that I could never do for all my customers and distributors who are swallowing this LifePak stuff every day? What could I never do? Prove it. I could never prove to anybody that swallowing my supplements actually did anything in their body. Right? I was like every other vitamin salesman. Well, do you feel something? Well, surely you feel different, don't you? Do you have more energy or something? That's what I had to do, right? Here I'm staring at the very technology that purports to do the one thing that no one's ever been able to do in the entire world of nutrition, and that's prove it. And I'm saying to myself, if these scientists are not lying to me, if they're telling me the truth and they're really measuring antioxidants in living human tissue in real time, if this is really true, this is huge. Because whatever company gets control of this technology will possess the power to consolidate the whole nutrition world, because they'll be able to prove that their products work and nobody else will be able to prove anything. They'll be just like they are now. Start to get it? That's why I was so excited. Okay? Nu Skin acquired the global exclusive rights to the biophotonic scanner in 2003. Now we've scanned more than 13 million people worldwide. 13 million scans. We now have the largest nutritional database in the world by a factor of 40 times larger than the next nearest nutritional database. We now know more about human nutrition and epidemiology than any company on the planet, and we continue to build our knowledge base. My score today is between 63 and 65,000 now. I eat exactly the same as I ate with my first scan. I exercise exactly the same as with my first scan. I eat the same way. I supplement the same way. I just take 2 of these a day right here. All right? So what's changed? This has changed. This has gotten better. Because Nu Skin can measure, they can take compounds, new formulas, and feed them to test groups of people and see if they work or not. While our competitors don't even know if their products work, period, let alone be able to improve their products. Do you see what an unfair advantage we have? It's awesome when you think about it. This is an incredible product. Single best-selling supplement in the world right here. Sell more of this than anything, than anybody's worldwide. And it's getting a lot bigger. Okay? You need to be on this product every day. Why? Because your score's too low. Because you don't eat enough servings of fruits and vegetables. Because you don't grow your own veggies in your own backyard. Because you buy them at a store and they've already been out there for 2 or 3 weeks on the shelf from the time they were picked in the garden. Okay? It's a problem. And even if you're really good at nutrition, you eat great 2 days, 3 days in a row, you blow it the 4th day or the 5th day. You can't quite get enough. This is your insurance policy, folks. You just get on this. And here's another thing that's great. This product is guaranteed to raise your score on that scanner in 60 days. If it doesn't do that, you can get all your money back. Can anybody else make that guarantee? Nope, because they can't measure. Remember this statement. Measurement is the basis of all science. Measurement is the basis of all science. Anybody disagree with that? Hope you don't, because you're wrong if you do. It's true, isn't it? You have to have a measurement tool, or you can't even do science. You can't even do any research unless you can compare one thing to another. So that's why it's so critical. These patents are good for another 12 years. 12 more years worldwide. No one else can do this. So this is an amazing product, you guys. Amazing scanner technology. Sorry I spent so much time on that. We'll just go through these really quick. Journal of American Medical Association says, you know what? You better actually take some supplements. We recommend all adults take a multivitamin daily, right? These are all the other companies that can measure non-invasively. What you want to do is get your score to 50,000 or higher. The highest score we've ever seen in the whole world is 197,000. How many people here are over 20,000? How many are over 30,000? Keep your hands up. How many over 40,000? Keep your hands up. How many over 50,000? How many over 60,000? Wow, how many over 70,000? We got a couple hands? Okay, what are you? 84,000. What are you? What is it? 72. 72. Those are some incredible scores. Healthy people there, okay? That's what you want to do. The problem is most people eat 2 to 3 servings of vegetables a day, and one of those is French fries. That doesn't count. So, you know, start eating better, right? Let's talk about the Galvanic Spa. This is a great technology here. 2 patents on this technology, okay? This patent technology puts galvanic current in the palm of your hand. We own the patents on that. So that means you can do a galvanic treatment in your own house. Okay, you don't have to go to the spa and pay $100, $150 to do it. You can do it in your own house for less than $10 a treatment. So that's a significant advantage, right? And a lot of people are catching on to that. What's the Gillette model of business? They teach this in business school. Does anybody know? What's the Gillette model? That's right, exactly right. They would basically give you the razor, because then they know you have to buy that blade that goes in that razor, and the blades are the disposable, right? In our day and age, it comes down to these units. This is the Gillette model of today, isn't it? Your cell phone provider will basically give you the hardware if you sign a contract to put their minutes in that phone for the next year or 2, right? Yeah, so where's the money? Is it in the phone or the minutes? It's all in the minutes, right? Same thing with this right here. They'll sell you the hardware, but there's not a lot of money in the hardware. Where's all the money? It's in the gels that you have to use with the hardware that can contain the right electrical charge so you get the benefit from the galvanic current. Okay? Now, if one person in this room just caught onto that idea alone right there, and you went out and built a network that distributed 10,000 of these spas in the next 5 years all over the world, okay, that will happen because people know people who know people. That alone would make you wealthy. That alone would make it so you never had to worry about money ever again. Because every time people pulled that spa out, they'd have to have a gel to use with it. And they're going to buy those gels every month. And every time they buy them, you make money. For as long as they use that spa. Okay, that's a great model, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's what we have. Here's ageLOC, okay, some of the transformation products. ageLOC is more of a product platform than it is a specific product. But ageLOC now has 14 patents and more coming. Here's how simple it is. One sentence. You know, sometimes we get confused trying to explain all this big science. One sentence describes what ageLOC is. ageLOC are compounds that you apply on your body or in your body that change the expression of your DNA. That's it. That's all it is. They change the expression of your DNA. Okay, now, people get confused. They worry about DNA. They worry about genetically modifying things, even foods, right? We're not changing your DNA. We're not gene splicing or doing gene therapy. All we're doing is taking your existing DNA and helping it to act like it did when you were young. That's all we're doing. Very simple, but very novel approach, right? And then we've already talked about the scanner and so forth, so let's move on here. Here's a couple of pictures of people. These people have had a half-face demonstration. When we utilize the galvanic spa, we always do only half the face. Why do we do that? See the difference on their own face, one side to the next, right? It's glaring sometimes, isn't it? Within 5 minutes. Very, very exciting product. That's why we do it, right? Wrong. Do you know why we do the half-face demo? So they have to buy it to fix the other half. That's why we do it. See this lady here? She's messed up. Really messed up. Look at that. Very lopsided. Sometimes when we get older, especially on women, the back of our arms starts to wag like a dog's tail. We hate that when it's flapping back and forth like that, don't we? So what people do is they take their galvanic spa and they use a product called Body Shaping Gel, and they put that on and they just vacuum those babies right back up into place. Right up in there. Now let's talk about ageLOC for a moment. As I said, all we're doing is helping to change the expression of your DNA. So as it turns out now, 4 years ago, a company in California came up with a really massive breakthrough in genetic research. They came up with integrated circuits, chips, that you can lay DNA strands right in the top of the chip, and you can analyze DNA like super fast now. Before that, you had to do all the wet chemistry and test tubes, and it took a long time. But now you can do it really fast, very accurately. We've been utilizing that breakthrough technology to identify the genes that we call youth gene clusters. These are the genes that are responsible to make your skin look younger, or make your eyes work better and act younger, or your liver, or your kidneys, you know, or your muscle tissue, or your brain. As it turns out, every tissue in the body has different youth gene clusters that affect it. So we're in the process of identifying those now. We're way ahead of everybody in the world on this technology. When you're young, those clusters act a certain way. It's like they burn bright. But when you get into middle age, it's like someone turned down the dimmer switch. They're just not working like they did when you were young. So when you get ageLOC ingredients in your body, they light up again, and they act like they did when you were young. That's the whole concept behind it. So here's some people you can look at. Here's a lady in Arizona. Just look at her neck, and then after 70 days, look at her neck and look under her eyes. I mean, that is pretty remarkable when you see that, right? This lady is 63 years old. She looks pretty good for 63. She's been using Nu Skin for 20 years, but this is 20 years of Nu Skin right here. This is after 90 days of ageLOC. Notice the difference on her upper lip even. She's got 1 or 2 stubborn lines still, but most of them are gone. And you look at her eyes. Her whole eyes look different, like they're higher above her eyes. So she's even had improvement over 20 years of Nu Skin use, right? Here's a lady in Dallas, Texas after 90 days. Look at her neck. Look at these jowl lines right here. Look how much better they are in the after picture on your right. This lady's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Before treatment, after 90 days, and 5 months. What I noticed most on her, in the before picture, it almost looks like her eyebrows are hanging over her eyes. And in the last picture, it's like somebody picked her whole forehead up. This is a lady in Seattle, Washington, before 1 week and 6 weeks, and we now have her 6-month picture. Remarkable difference. I mean, look at the lines in her forehead. This is what we call reversing the appearance of your age. So I'm going to ask the women one more time. Women, there's only 4 ways you can actually look younger before age lock. What were they? Okay, surgery, facelift. Botox, inject it, right? High-end laser dermabrasion would make you look good for another year, okay? Or you could bury it. Cover it up, right? Okay. So those are the 4 options you have. Cut it, inject it, laser it, or bury it. Those are the 4 ways you can look younger, okay? Now there's a number 5. What's number 5? You can put a product on your face that absorbs through your skin and changes the expression of your DNA. That's pretty incredible. Can anybody else do that? No, they can't. And we've got all the patents on that, that technology. Okay, look at this gentleman, just in case the men wonder if it works on men. This gentleman's 81. The gentleman on the right looks like his younger brother, doesn't he? He's been doing galvanic and age lock for 6 months. Looks amazing. Let's talk about Vitality. How many are on Vitality in this room? Wow, look at that. You liking it?
Oh, yeah.
What a great product, huh? Amazing product. This is our response to Red Bull and Starbucks. Most people basically medicate all day long to get themselves through the day. And what we're saying is this is not a stimulant. This is changing the expression of your cells, creating energy in your cells of your body, natural energy. Okay? A lot of people are down to 1 cup of coffee a day instead of 8. 1 Red Bull or none, from what they used to do. So it's an amazing product, and it works in multiple different ways. But let me show you how it works. These are the genes that are in your cells that affect energy production in your body. There's 52 genes. Every one of these slices is one of those 52 genes right here. This is how you express those genes when you're young. This is when you're in college and you can do 3 all-nighters and not even think about it. Remember that?
Yeah.
This is what happens when you get to middle age. Almost a complete flip-flop of what it should be when you're young. This is when you can't even think about an all-nighter anymore, right? This is when you start to forget the names of people that you know really well. Like, son, tell me your name, son. Tell your name. Some people start to act. We lose our car keys. We start to forget things. We have senior moments. We start to go, what is going on in my head? This is after 4 weeks on Vitality right here. Okay? It's almost a complete match to the expression of these 52 genes when you're young. Not 100%, but it's a 92% match. That's pretty good. That's why people are starting to get these differences, and they feel natural energy. And they don't need all their stimulants anymore. And so all parts of their life start to improve. Their cognitive function starts to be a lot better in a lot of people. Okay, so think about this. There's some huge benefits to be had from this product. Okay, let's talk about Nu Skin. I spent a lot of time on number 2. We did number 1. What was that one? Market trend. Number 2 was what?
Exclusive products.
Unique products and exclusive technologies, right? Now we're on number 3. Are you guys tracking with me here? You're awake? You're not falling asleep?
No.
Okay, I'm just going to go really fast from here on out. Okay? Number 3, we got, world-class partnerships. We have 2 of them. There's 2 partnerships we have in Nu Skin. One is with a company called Nu Skin, right? You might think that sounds strange, aren't we, Nu Skin? No, we're actually independent contractors. And we have a deal with Nu Skin called their compensation plan, okay? The other partnership we have is with One Team Global and System 7, which are the 7 steps that we all follow so we can duplicate and grow our businesses, okay? So you need to learn both of those. Tonight we're just going to talk about one of them. We're going to talk about this right here, this world-class partnership with Nu Skin. We have completed 26 successful years. We're in our 27th year now. That speaks volumes to me. There's so many startup, flaky, fly-by-night companies that come out in this industry, folks. You can't afford to take that kind of risk with your reputation, with your friends and your family, right? Guess how many network companies have started and failed since I've been in Nu Skin? Over 60,000 companies have started and failed just in that time. You got better odds than Vegas, don't you? Sure you do. So that's very difficult. So stability is proven management. They know what they're doing. They're on a roll. Dun & Bradstreet, 5A1 rating, the highest financial rating you can get from Dun & Bradstreet Corporation. And most impressive, Nu Skin's maintained that rating for 17 years in a row. Hardly any corporation has done that in this world. Even General Electric, which perennially has a 5A1 rating, lost it during the last downturn for a year or two. Okay, it's just so hard to be that consistent, right? That's why Forbes magazine said last year that Nu Skin's one of the top 100 most trustworthy public companies. That's great, a great endorsement. Operating in 51 countries. Next month or next week, 2 weeks, it'll be 52 when we open the country of Argentina for the Nu Skin opportunity. So we just continue to expand markets. How many here are from another country or speak another language? I mean, look at that, you guys. You have such an advantage. Those of you that just raised your hand, and those of you that didn't raise your hand because you're just boring, you just live right here and you've always been here, okay? All of you that are just right here, it's okay because you know people that just raised their hands. I promise you, if you do this business for 10 years and you don't stop for 10 years, you'll have business in 20 or 30 countries, even if you never go there yourself. That's just because people know people who know people who know people, and it spreads around the world. It's really remarkable how that happens. I've been doing this almost 22 years. Guess what I figured out a few months ago? I make more money when I'm sleeping than when I'm awake. Isn't that cool? How many here would like to make more when you're asleep than when you're awake? It can only happen with a vehicle like this. Most other vehicles that you make your money with are flawed. They don't have that capability. Okay, so that's pretty important, isn't it? Let me just digress. Remember the 3 types of businesses? Let's say that you do business number 1 and you start your own family business and you work at it for 40 years. You sweat and sacrifice. The first 20 years you hardly make any money, you take anything out, but the next 20 years it makes you wealthy. Okay? Now you're about ready to turn it over to your children and their spouses so that family business can take care of another generation. But unfortunately, you spent that 40 years building that business in one location, and that one location was Sendai, Japan. What just happened to your 40 years of life work? Gone. Gone forever. Okay? Or Christchurch, New Zealand. Or Port-au-Prince, Haiti, or any number of other places we could talk about. Anytime you have a business that you base in one location, you assume a certain set of risk, right? How would you like a business that's not based anywhere? How would you like a business that's just out there in the cloud, it's just in the network, and it just throws money in your bank account every month from all these places around the world? How would you like a business that no earthquake can knock down, no flood can sweep it away, no fire can burn it up? That would be a pretty amazing business, wouldn't it? If you're going to invest your time in your own business, you really want to consider something like this. It can be very, very powerful. 700 million in assets, like warehouses worldwide, so anybody gets their product within 7 days anywhere in the world. Computer systems that track all these orders. Currency traders that sit on the 8th floor of that building in Provo, Utah, and hedge currencies all day while the markets are being fluid and moving around, right? Somebody named Gaddafi goes insane in Libya, and all of a sudden oil goes insane, and all the currencies go like this. If you're running your own business, you probably just lost all your profit for the whole month if you're doing global trade, unless you're hedging it really good. Does anybody here really understand how to hedge? I don't think so. Aren't you glad we have people that do that for you? It's really important for a person like me that has business in 51 countries. Nu Skin wants to know they can pay the compensation that's due every month, regardless. This is a remarkable company, folks. It's really incredible how they do it. We did $1.3 billion in 2009. We did $1.55 billion last year. We'll do $1.8 billion this year, or thereabouts, and over $2 billion next year. We're going to $5 billion. That's our next stop. That's our next immediate goal, $5 billion. That's 3 times larger than we were last year. What does that mean? We need 3 times the leaders that we had last year. We need new people like you that grab this idea and say, this is a much superior financial vehicle than I'm driving in my life currently, and I'm going to do this. Okay? We need you to become blue diamonds, our top position, okay? And if you do that, you're going to be really glad that you did. 75 scientists on staff. We have our own scientists. We're building amazing products. That's why we come up with these things like AgeLock and the biophotonic scanner and all these breakthroughs. Either we see it and acquire it, or we invent it. And that just expands our business every time we come up with a new product, right? Number 4, proven compensation. We're almost done. Hang in there. Everybody still with me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm a little bit over. I apologize. But I only come here once every 2 years, so is that okay if I take a couple more minutes? Number 4, okay? Proven compensation. Do you guys remember at the beginning of the meeting, I said that in my 3rd month, my bonus check went up 5 times in 1 month because I became an executive and it was $5,500?
Yep.
Can you remember that back that far?
Yep.
If you can't, you definitely need Vitality. Okay? So that's what happened to me. That's what you need to do. If anything I've said makes sense at all tonight, you need to become an executive as soon as you can. It's not hard to do. Some people do it in a week. Some do it in a month. Some 2 months. But never more than 3 months, okay? That's the window you have to do it in. When you become an executive, the average income worldwide for everybody at that position is between $400 and $600 a month. That's the range. Not a lot of money, okay, but it starts to make changes in people's lives. Maybe they can get a car now, you know? They can have a car payment finally or something and get a new vehicle. So that's where you start. And then after that, you just do it in 4s. So what you do is you become an executive, and then you go get 4 executives on your front line. You just duplicate what you just did yourself. You help 4 people to do that. When you do that, you become a Ruby executive right here. You got at least 4 executives on your front line. The average income last year for all Ruby executives in the whole company worldwide was $32,170. Just a little less than $3,000 a month coming into your bank account. Most people who become Ruby executives take about 12 months to do that. From the day they come to a meeting like this and hear about Nu Skin for the first time and they say, okay, I'm in, until the day they become Rubies is on average 12 months. So what's wrong with that? You find a really cool company that's got amazing products, you join it, you work it part-time on the side, evenings and weekends, you don't quit your day job just yet, right? And at the end of the year, you got almost $3,000 a month coming in your bank. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Nothing. That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, let's talk about what you have to do to become a Ruby executive. This is the part that's a little bit tough. This is the difficult part of the conversation. This is where I probably will ruin some of you right now. I'm just warning you in advance, okay? Sorry. What does it take to get 4 executives on your front line? How many people do you have to go recruit to end up with 4 executives on your front line? I told you when we started, I'm just going to tell you the truth. Didn't I?
Yep.
In my book, the truth is good enough. It's always good enough, right? Okay, so here's the truth. 40 people. Ouch. That's a lot of people, isn't it? Yeah. You're going to have to go out there and recruit 40 people and sign them up in this company to end up with 4 that make you a Ruby. Why? Why so many people? Because half the people are going to quit almost immediately. In the first 90 days, they're going to be gone out of this company. I know you think that's hard to believe, right? But I promise you that will happen. I've been doing this long enough that I know exactly what happens. They always quit. Don't think that's unusual, okay? They're going to leave. Can you stop them?
No.
Can anybody here control anybody else in this world?
No.
No.
Can you?
No.
You can't. In case you think you can, just let me tell you, you really can't, okay? I've been trying to control my wife for 27 years. She will not squeeze the toothpaste from the bottom of the tube. So I solved that problem about a year ago. I just buy 2 tubes now. I write my name on mine. Her tube's over there mangled and crunched, you know. Mine's rolled up very nice and neat. Everything's perfect and clean, okay? It's just the way it is. You can't control anybody. So they're going to leave, guys. There's not anything you can really do about it. It's nothing to do with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just they're quitters, okay? The word finisher is not part of their vocabulary. They don't know what that means. They quit everything they do. They never really finish anything. And they're going to quit this one too. Plan on it. I tell you, it's normal, okay? So what happens to the 20 that are left? About 6 or 7 will use products for 4, 5, 6 months. They'll quit. You'll never see them again. 6 or 7 will use products and fall in love with 1 or 2 or 3, and they'll use them the rest of their life. That's good. That's just volume in your group, okay? And 4 will become executives on your front line and make you a Ruby executive and put almost $3,000 in your bank. Now, it's really important to remember this one thing. Do not focus on all the people who leave, because it's negative enough that it will sweep you right out of this business with them if that's what you focus on. You can't control people, so why are you worried about it? Don't dwell on it, right? Just focus on the people that want to work. That's all you do, okay? That's really important you remember that. Now, wasn't that a lot of fun, becoming a Ruby? You're all kind of going, that wasn't very fun at all. That was pretty brutal. Yeah, it kind of was, okay? Maybe I just ruined you. Maybe you're done right now. Sorry, okay? Before you leave the room, though, just think about this, okay? This isn't hard to become a Ruby. You know what's hard? Getting to age 65 and having nothing for the rest of your life. That's what's hard. So before you think, you want to quit, or that was too difficult, you better think again. Otherwise, you will be part of those numbers, and you will have nothing. Okay, with that little bit of information, anybody want to do the second round?
Yes.
Anybody want to do the next
Sure.
4? Let's go get the next 4. Now we're a diamond executive. We've got at least 8 on our front line. The average income for diamonds last year worldwide, $124,104. Now this is getting serious. That's a little more than $10,000 a month coming into your bank. All right, the average time that it takes a person from the day they come to their first Nu Skin exposure until they end up becoming diamond executives is 26 months. That's the average worldwide, 26 months. How many of you here have been doing something for the last 26 months to put food on the table and pay your bills? You've been doing something? Only 25% work. Okay, that's what's wrong with this country. You're doing something? You're probably doing something, right? Let me believe you're doing something, okay? Yeah. So, are you making $10,000 a month? Probably not. Maybe you should have been doing this the last 26 months. I'm going to make a statement that I want you to write down. This is really important. Listen close. In the next 26 months, 26 more months are going to go by. That was incredible, wasn't it? I'm sure I'm a genius. They're going to go by anyway. Why would you spend 1 more minute in a flawed financial vehicle called a job, trading your brain to some company for nothing? Why would you continue in that behavior when you already know the outcome? When you have a choice to do something different that could change things. The problem most people have is they press the reset button every January 1st. And they go all the way to 0 and have to pump up and prove that they're good all over again and try to beat their tax return from the year before. People hate making less than they made the year before, you know? But then the next year, what do? You press the reset button again. Why do you keep doing that? Because you're in the wrong vehicle. Because you have to press it. You don't press it here. You build it to a level. There's no reset button. The next year you build it to the next level. No reset button. Next year build it to the next level. No reset button. It's a different vehicle, right? Okay, so what do you have to do to get those next 4 executives? This is the hard part. 40 more? Nope, you don't need 40 this time. You only need 30 this time. Why? Because you've been in it 2 years now, right? You're getting better at this. You got better words in your mouth, so you don't slaughter as many people when you talk to them. So your percentages start going up. That's what happens. So you only need 30, but still, half are gonna quit in the first 90 days. Plan on it. It's normal. As soon as half of them are gone, just say to yourself, I'm right on track. Because you are. It'd be weird if they all stayed. That wouldn't be normal. Now you got 15. What's gonna happen? Handful will use products, they'll quit. Handful will use products, and they'll love them and use them forever. And 4 more will become executives on your front line and make you a diamond and put $10,000 in your bank account every month. Anybody want to do the last one?
Yeah.
One more time. Last 4. Let's pump up. Let's do the last 4. Now we're what we call a blue diamond executive in Nu Skin. At least 12 on our front line. Okay? Average income for all blue diamonds in the company last year worldwide was $535,276. Just a little more than $44,000 a month coming into your bank. You can live on that even in London. Right? That's what happens when they become blue diamonds. The average time that it takes the average blue diamond to achieve the average blue diamond income happens between year 6 and 7 of their involvement in this company. How many of you here have been doing something for 6 or 7 years to pay your bills? Are you making $44,000 a month? Nope, because you keep pressing the reset button. Because you got a little problem with your vehicle. Right? I know I'm obnoxious about this, I know. But I'm trying to make the point. Okay? So some people are a little skeptical still, and they go, well, by the way, how many people do you need to get the next 4? Only 20 this time, because you're getting better. Still, half are going to quit. Plan on it. Right? Okay. People, they're skeptical. They go, well, you know, he's trying to make this sound better than it really is. There's probably only 4 people that are at that title, so he's making it sound like it's really big, but it's not. Can I ask you a question? How many people make more than $500,000 a year where you work right now? 1? 3? 5? Maybe 50 in a huge company? Maybe? How many people made more than $500,000 a year in Nu Skin last year? Over 700. There's a lot better odds here than there is in anything else I can think of. What are the real pyramid schemes in the world anyway? Those corporate models that look just like this with 1 or 2 people at the top that make all the money and everybody else makes peanuts. And you have no prayer of getting to the top. Because you didn't go to the right schools, you don't belong to the right club, or you're a woman, or you're from another country, your English isn't exact, or whatever. Yeah, those are the real pyramids. You know, why wouldn't you put your time where you got the best shot? And I think I've sufficiently explained to you that it's going to be tough. I hope you don't walk out of here thinking that I sugarcoated this thing or something. I've probably overdone it to the negative just to make you tough. Okay? Let me tell you what happened to me, and then we'll close with that. Here's what happened to me my first year in Nu Skin. I got in. It was take no prisoner mode. I decided I was going to hit everybody I knew, and I didn't care what they thought. And after the first couple of people kind of mocked me and made fun of me for doing a skincare company or doing network marketing, I had to decide immediately that I loved my 3 little girls a lot more than I cared about those mockers. That I wanted to feed them worse than I cared about feeling like my ego was hurt. Okay? And so I just kept plowing. And I pitched over 100 of my friends and family. I sat down with them and I gave them a full hour. My flip chart. Me and the flip chart. Just doing our deal. Guess how many said no thanks? And some in much stronger terms than that. 67 said, not for me, I'm not going to do it. Good luck. 33 people said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm going to join Nu Skin. I'm going to change my life. Well, talk's cheap. Right? Don't tell me. Just show me. Just show me what you're going to do. Guess how many of those 33 quit the first year?
15.
20. 20 quit. You know, some people even come to the meetings and they've already quit, they just don't know it yet. 13 of those people stuck with it. And either those 13 people or someone underneath them became an executive on my front line and made me a blue diamond in Nu Skin. And those 13 people have now multiplied into over 500,000 people in 51 countries. I would have never believed it myself if you would have said that to me then. Okay? So I get paid on a lot of hours every day. I figured it out one time. If all these people just put in, 5 minutes a day each on their own Nu Skin business, then I'm getting paid collectively through the Nu Skin compensation plan a little bit on what a lot of those people are doing, right? I get paid on over 50,000 hours a day of effort. How many hours do you get paid on every day? Don't say it out loud, just think it to yourself. Is it 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 or something, If those are your answers, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. Because you don't have nearly enough leverage. In fact, you have no leverage. It's all you. And if you ever stop showing up, it stops. Okay, that's a bad vehicle. That's a bad place to be. What you want to do is find a vehicle that allows you to work really hard, really focused. Maybe for 5 years. Maybe it takes you 10 years. I don't care. But then you're done. You're finished. You've got a network that's using and consuming product, and you're just clipping those coupons every month. You have residual passive income that can carry you through that much extended life you're likely going to experience. Instead of running out of money and still being alive, that's scary. Right? Just being around Nu Skin is going to make you younger. Because you're going to be thinking about it. You're going to get better in your diet, your exercise, and how you take care of yourself and everything. This is automatic when you hang around this company. Okay? That alone is the best thing that could happen to anybody here tonight, even if you never make any money. You just use the products and hang around and stay young. Live a better life. Okay? Passive residual income. How early do you have to get out of bed tomorrow morning to put in 50,000 hours tomorrow all by yourself? You got to get up really early. You can't do it, can you? There's only 24 if you don't sleep. That's no good. So you can't do that. You have to find a different vehicle that allows you to get this leverage we're talking about. And then things really will work for you. My last point is timing. You heard it said timing's everything. You better be at the right place, right time, with the right opportunity. You ever heard that? And most people say you'll be lucky if you ever have that happen twice in your whole life. When all the stars align, it may happen twice. Most people, one time you'll have an opportunity in your life that you know that was it. You should have done it. That was really good. Okay? Rarely, but sometimes you get a second crack at it. I don't know if this is your first or second crack, but I can tell you this is one of those times right now. This is the best business you'll ever see. I never said it was easy. I told you it was hard to do. But it's worth it because you only got to do it one time. And then you're done. Okay? That's the difference. And so that's what you got to think about. And I look at right place, right time, right opportunity, and I go, wow, that's not even half of it. The most important thing, the most important feature in my book of timing is take action. And that's the most important thing. You guys have just seen it. You can sit there on your butts and go, look at that. Right place, right time, right opportunity. Incredible. I can go sit here and look at it. You got to get up and do something. Okay, so here's all I'm saying to you. Tonight, if you do not decide now that you're going to do this, let me tell you what's going to happen, because I've been doing this a long time, and I've spoken to lots of groups just like you, so I know you. Even though I don't know you, I know you. Here's what happens. If you turn to the person who invited you here tonight and you go, okay, well, it does sound pretty intriguing, but I've got to go home and check with the boss, and, I'll call you tomorrow, and I'll let you know what I think, if I'm going to join or not, okay? Do you know what the odds drop to that you would actually make the phone call at this time tomorrow night and call them back and go, hey, I'm in? Less than 50%. What happened overnight? Did Nu Skin cut the compensation plan in half? Overnight, did the products become horrible overnight? What happened? No, nothing happened here. It happened with you, right here. Life happened to you. You know, you got busy, or you walked out of this room when this meeting ended, and you got a text, and your boss said that report's due in the morning. You go, oh, I forgot about that. And, you know, all of a sudden you get sucked back into life and your job, and, you know, your spouse texts you, the dog has barked, what are we going to do? And whatever, things happen to you, right? So that's what happens, is that you end up having life happen to you, and you get distracted. This opportunity won't go away just because you don't do it. It's just going to continue to get bigger and better. You watch. You watch us go to 5 billion. I promise you. It's going to happen. Okay. If you say, I'm leaving town, I'll call you in a week and let you know if I'm in. What's the odds that you'll call back in 7 days and tell them you want to join News Camp? First of all, you will not remember you were here a week from now. Less than 1%. The reason I tell you these numbers is to let you know that action's important. You know, these opportunities, they're perishable. You know, tonight it makes sense, and you got this vehicle thing in your head now, and you're thinking about it, and you're going to go to the job tomorrow and just sit there and go, what am I doing here? This is a joke. You know, you're going to be worried about some of these things. So that'll start to affect you, but eventually life will just suck you in, and you'll be back in your normal rut. And I already told you what's going to happen if you do that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to change, you have to fight. I'm telling you, habits are too powerful. You have to fight to change if you want to make a change in your life. It is that abrupt. You've got to really gear up if you want to change something. Otherwise, the status quo will just take over, and it'll be whatever it's going to be, and that's how it'll turn out. So think about those things, okay? Think about what we've said tonight. I have told you the truth. I haven't sugarcoated it. I'm probably a real disappointment compared to most speakers, okay? But I just want you to know the facts. That's really what it is, and that's what it's going to take. And hey, don't worry, we have lots of fun the whole time. We really do have a lot of fun doing this. I don't want to make it sound so dour and sour, okay? We have a lot of fun while we do it. Thank you very much for being here.